Some people acquired the title billionaire through sheer hard work, others through inheritance that they worked with to triple their wealth, while others came from billionaire status to broke. Frugal billionaires don't dwell on the size of their bank account, but their quality of life. Number 10. Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, chairman and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, is one of the richest people in the world. With a net worth of $101.1 billion, it is hard to imagine someone like that adopting a frugal lifestyle. But he still lives in Omaha, Nebraska, in a house that he purchased 50 years ago, worth $31,500. As if that wasn't frugal enough, Warren Buffett is a cheapskate when it comes to breakfast. He eats his breakfast depending on how the market has performed. For example, if the market has performed well, he would splurge on breakfast with a $3.89 bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. If the market is down, he spends $2.99 on a sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich. On a very bad day, he ate a breakfast of 2 sausage patties worth $2.38. Before he bought an iPhone, which he admitted using only to make phone calls, he had a $20 flip phone. And he also admitted to buying cars at a reduced price. Warren, at an annual shareholder meeting, said that his quality of life was not affected by the amount of money he had, quoting, "My life couldn't be happier. It'd be worse if I had 6 or 8 houses. So, I have everything I need to have." If you're trying to save money, adopt billionaire Warren Buffett's frugal lifestyle and improve your savings. Start by intentional spending. We can't promise that you'll be a billionaire soon, but you'll have made significant milestones in a short time. Number 9. Azim Premji. Azim Premji, a 76-year-old billionaire from India, is as frugal as they come. The chairman of Wipro Limited is worth $9.4 billion. He does not mean that he throws his money around. He admitted to driving second-hand cars, rides rickshaws to get home from the airport. He is also big on modest hotels and shunning the flashy billionaire lifestyle. Azim Premji used to drive an old, temperamental Toyota, much to the behest of his senior advisors, who urged him to upgrade. He did upgrade to a second-hand Mercedes he reportedly bought from an employee at his company, Wipro. Azim Premji is also not big on misuse of toiletries, despite them being cheap, and keeps tabs on toilet paper usage, and also reminds his employees to switch off the lights after they are done. You may think that such a billionaire would fly first class, but Azim Premji is an economy flyer. He doesn't see the need to waste money, and that could probably be why he has been called the bare-bones billionaire. Number 8. Mark Zuckerberg. For a person rolling in dough, Mark Zuckerberg is as frugal as they come. With a net worth of over $40 billion, he is worth more than 100 times of all the Kardashian families, plus $1 billion pocket change. That's right. But with all his money, Mark Zuckerberg had his wedding in the backyard of his $7 million home, which, considering his worth, is a frugal home. If you were a billionaire, which car do you think you'd drive? Perhaps a $400,000 Rolls-Royce, right? Not Mr. Zuckerberg. He drives a $30,000 black Acura TSX, which he terms comfortable and safe. And yes, we're getting into his closet too. Mark Zuckerberg, when asked why he wears the same color t-shirt, said that he does not like to waste time making decisions on what to wear. But when it comes down to it, he's frugal down to the shoes he wears. You can take a lot from this billionaire's lifestyle and try to save as much as you can, given that the average American family spends $1,700 a year on clothes alone. Number 7. Bill Gates. Bill Gates, together with the late Paul Allen, founded the Microsoft empire, from which he stepped down from in March of 2020. With a net worth of $130.9 billion, Bill Gates has been a well-known figure around the world for decades. Even though he purchased a $43 million house in California and a $40 million private jet, this Microsoft giant is not known to splurge on expensive things. But those are just a few of some of the rare items he has spent hefty sums on. But despite his overflowing cash, Bill Gates has no interest in flaunting expensive 20-some carat jewelry and was spotted wearing a $10 watch at an event back in 2014. His signature look is also nothing to write home about, which includes a V-neck sweater over a collared shirt. Did you know if Bill Gates gave every single living person on the whole planet $15, he'd still have $28 billion to spare? Intriguing, right? Number 6. David Chariton. David Chariton is a 70-year-old Canadian computer scientist with a net worth of $11 billion. He once said, "I feel like I've been very fortunate in investing, but I still have the brain of a scrounger in terms of spending money." And he was right, because he is on the list of billionaires with a frugal lifestyle. After investing $100,000 in Google, his efforts paid off, but David Chariton dislikes being called a billionaire. He said that he got offended by that sort of thing, and that those people who build houses with 13 bathrooms and so on, there's something wrong with them. David Chariton cuts his own hair, lives in his Palo Alto home that he has owned for 30 years, and drives a 1986 Volkswagen Vanagon, although he did buy a Honda Odyssey for his children. When it's all said and done, frugality is in this math guru's blood. Number 5. Jim C. Walton. Jim Walton is the heir to Walmart chains and is worth a whopping $65 billion. He's also the president of Arvest Bank, and even though he can afford to have the best of everything, Jim Walton does not go spending like there's no tomorrow. Jim Walton also doesn't own a fancy office on the 113th floor of a modern skyscraper. He runs his family's Arvest Bank on an upstairs floor of a plain old brick building. You won't catch him dead driving a Maybach or some other bank-breaking car. His style is pickups, and he drives a 15-year-old Dodge Dakota pickup. Having acquired these frugal traits from his father, Sam Walton, who was a notoriously frugal and conservative father, Jim is a private person, but has contributed immensely to the success and expansion of the chain of stores Walmart. Number 4. Chuck Feeney. Chuck Feeney, one of the most successful businessmen of his time, is currently worth $2 million, having donated 375,000% of his wealth to charities, amounting to $8 billion. Chuck Feeney, for all the wealth he has accumulated, always chooses the second cheapest wine from any wine list. Despite being a billionaire at one time from being a co-founder of Duty Free Shoppers Group and founder of Atlantic Philanthropies, Chuck Feeney leads a frugal lifestyle. He owns no property, has no vehicles, and lives in a rented apartment. He wants to die broke. Talk about taking frugality to another level. To quote the billionaire who wanted to die broke, "Wealth brings responsibility. People must define themselves or feel a responsibility to use some of their assets to improve the lives of their fellow humans, or else create intractable problems for future generations." Number 3. Carlos Slim Helú. Carlos Slim Helú is the honorary chairman of America Mobile, which is Latin America's biggest mobile telecom firm, with a net worth of $71.9 billion. But even with his larger-than-life bank account, Carlos still lives in a modest 6-bedroom house in Mexico City, which has been his home for over 40 years. Besides his frugal lifestyle, Carlos is also a philanthropist and has a charitable organization which focuses on philanthropic missions throughout Mexico and Latin America. For example, he contributed $100 million to former President Bill Clinton, who was trying to fight poverty in Latin America. He has also donated more than $250 million to other charitable organizations. Carlos also doesn't need to hire drivers or bodyguards, considering how dangerous Mexico can be for a man of his status. He prefers to drive himself wherever he goes, and purchases most of his clothing from the racks of many of his retail franchises. Number 2. David Green. David Green is the CEO of Hobby Lobby, with a net worth of $8.4 billion. He started his craft shop back in 1970, which he took a $600 loan to open. A staunch Christian, David Green is a giver and supports many causes, especially evangelical. His notable generosity sees Hobby Lobby giving half of its earnings to Christian ministries. This is because generosity and ministry are at the heart of his business plan, and he says that he needs to put his money where his mouth is. He has also supplied 1 billion Bibles to homes around the world. What's more astonishing is that David Green makes the same salary he did 20 years ago. Well, as they say, giving is receiving, and if you're using your money for a good cause, you will receive more. Like David Green, you should try to put your money where your mouth is. Before we get into number 1, make sure you check out the links in the description for our best recommendations to boost your savings. Number 1. Amancio Ortega. Amancio Ortega is a Spanish tycoon that owns Zara, a Spanish apparel retail industry. He currently has a net worth of $78.5 billion, but does not splurge it or get wasteful by owning the world's most expensive homes or other property. Ortega at one time worked as a tailor and sold bathrobes and lingerie, but had a knack for innovation. Ortega is reported to frequent the same coffee shop every day and does not go to Sublimotion, a $2,000 per person Spanish restaurant, and prefers to eat his lunch at his company's cafeteria. Even with his frugal lifestyle, Amancio Ortega earns more than $400 million every year in dividends. Despite his riches and the ability to afford $50,000 shoes, Stuart Hughes Diamond Edition suits worth $892,500, who's the best designer in the world, Amancio Ortega has little interest in fashion trends and can be spotted wearing his blue blazer, white t-shirt, and gray trousers. And what's more, none of what he wears comes from his brands, including Zara. How frugal are you with your $6,000 monthly income? Make sure to check out the next video. You're going to get a ton of value from this one. See you there!